If you've noticed the insane rise in utilities, food, and rent, I want you to stay tuned in this video and let's talk about it.
You gotta say grace. Okay, say grace.
The greatest indicators of eviction are being Black, being a woman, or having children. We know that Black people are 2 times as likely to be evicted as their white counterparts after controlling for education and other factors. We know that the single greatest predictor of an eviction is the presence of a child.
The day she was evicted, Alexis Hatcher and her daughter spent the night at her grandmother's house. But she was worried about COVID and continued looking for somewhere else to stay.
Are you on the southern side of Arlington or on the northern side?
Southern.
Okay.
Good afternoon. How could I help you?
Hi. I was wondering if you guys have anything available for maybe a week?
For a week starting today?
Possibly, yes.
So if you come in tomorrow, I've got a king room available at $99 per night.
Oh, okay.
That's a week stay, that's Saturday through the following Saturday.
Saturday
The rest of
to
that show.
Saturday?
Yes, ma'am.
They're so expensive.
One adult and one kid. Okay, I got you booked. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much.
This is 375, okay?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I'm glad that I have the daughter that I have because not all kids are so understanding and accepting. She feels my energies. She knew something wasn't right. She was expecting something was gonna happen. But one thing she knows is mommy's always there. Mommy's still here, so it must be okay. You know, even though she knows her stuff is not at home, even though she knows we're not going back there, she doesn't know we don't have a home. Because to her, I'm sorry, but to her, wherever I am is her home.
And I did a little research last night. So this is going to kind of give us a little perspective on the average cost of living or the average rent price in these major cities. Number one, we have Philadelphia, PA. The average cost for a 2-bedroom in Philadelphia, PA now is $1,887. Moving on to Washington, D.C., where the average rent price is $2,422. Following, we have Atlanta, Georgia, where the average for a 2-bedroom is $1,813. And that's just the average for the metro area. If you're looking at somewhere like Buckhead, which is like the Hollywood of Atlanta, the average will be around $2,306. Now tell me that is not insane for a 2-bedroom. Not a house, not a mortgage. A 2-bedroom apartment in Buckhead is $2,306. Moving on, we'll go to Houston. The average in Houston, Texas is $1,348 a month for a 2-bedroom. And towards the downtown area, I have that written here also. Towards the downtown area, it's $2,151, which is pretty reasonable compared to the rest of the cities on the list. Maybe I need to move to Houston. So they're doing something pretty good there. But this next stat is going to blow your mind after you watch this video.
Kanika Williams is a single mom of 4 boys living in Cleveland, Ohio. She has 3 part-time jobs, cleaning homes, delivering food with DoorDash, and sorting mail for UPS. She's active at her kids' schools, cooks them dinner every night, and stays present in their lives.
Being around my kids, that's like the number one. So my kids motivate me. I want us to have stuff. I want us to do stuff.
Kanika puts her life together like sections of a quilt, caring for her sons, making money, spending time with friends. Each piece is sewn together intentionally.
When I have a roof over my head, I know when my small necessary bills are paid. Necessary meaning lights, water, gas, insurance, rent. I'm not talking about Netflix or any of those wanted things. Once I have those things taken care of, I have freedom.
Kanika has a medical technician degree, and the rise of gig work has given people like Kanika some level of autonomy. But she reminisces about how things used to be for previous generations. Her mother, Brenda, just retired from her decades-long job as a janitor at an elementary school.
I went to that school when I was in first grade. And that's where she's retiring from. So those 30-year jobs, those 40-year jobs are gone for us unless we start right now.
Between her gig work at $20 an hour and her UPS job at $16.50 an hour, both above Ohio minimum wage, she says she brings home roughly $1,500 a month. What is your definition of a living wage?
Being able to afford your bill, your monthly bills, being able to put a portion back for savings. And I think for me in my household, if I was to make $3,500 a month.
What would that extra money, what would that get you?
That'll get all bills paid, a little bit in the bank, and maybe that oil change I may need it. You know.
The debate over how much workers should get paid in America has a contentious history. It took decades of strikes, debates, and a Great Depression for Congress to pass a law in 1938 establishing a federal minimum wage.
We're going to move on to minimum wage to paint the whole picture here. And also, similar to average rents, I have the average minimum wage in a few states. So just check this out. Bear with me for a moment. The average minimum wage in the state of Georgia is $7.25, guys. $7.25. Now, let's move on to Pennsylvania. The average or the minimum wage there is $11 per hour. Let's move on to Texas. Similar to Georgia, Texas is $7.25 an hour. So to kind of put that in perspective, so we can understand like the base model here and how much actually $7.25 is per hour, I went ahead and times that by 40. So, I rounded up. I just went with $7. So 40 hours times $7 an hour would be $1,120 per month. So if you're making minimum wage in the state of Georgia or Texas, your paycheck is $1,120 per month. Now, I just said the average rent in Texas was $13.48. You're not going to be able to afford your rent, let alone cell phone bills, car insurance, car notes. You're not even going to be able to afford rent alone, at least, unless you have a roommate or so. But this is just kind of putting it in perspective on the housing crisis that we're in right now. And I want you to watch this next video, and we'll come back and talk afterwards.
Prices are still higher than they were pre-COVID. Seth Reed used to shop at Safeway right next to his apartment. Now he drives to Aldi for less expensive groceries.
Everything's going up in price.
But lower inflation doesn't mean lower prices. It just means prices are rising more slowly than they were, Scanlon explains.
If you're thinking that inflation going down means that prices are going down, you're going to be very confused when you go to the store and your box of cereal is not cheaper. You're like, but I heard on the media that inflation is going down. What's going on?
Okay, guys, I wanted to provide you with a little bit more information. If you look on the screen right now, I'm going to show you everything that you need to qualify for apartment in 2024. As you can see, this list is pretty extensive here. I feel like most people will be able to provide all of these documents. But the one that really stands out, and I'm going to click on it here, and I want you guys to read over it a little bit if you can. Proof of income. Now in 2024, which has been going on since the 2000s, honestly, it's a term called the 30% term, which in other words means to qualify for an apartment complex or to deal with one of these huge companies like BlackRock or I'm not even sure right now off the top of my head, but just to qualify for like a major apartment complex, it's called the rule of thirds or the 30% rule. So you have to make 3 times the amount of rent you're going to be paying. So if we go back to what I stated earlier, if you're living in Philadelphia and the average rent is $18.87, you have to make 3 times that amount to qualify for the income portion of the application. I want you guys to watch this video here and stay tuned. We'll talk about it afterwards.
I was struggling.
Dixon has also known homelessness. She says despite having excellent credit and no negative rental history, her small disability check and supplemental income were not close to 3 times the rental amount required for most apartments.
At times I was living with strangers. I went on Craigslist at the time, and these things didn't work out because one person was like, I just want your money. I don't want you here. Some people didn't want me to use their refrigerator. If you don't have a refrigerator or can't use the kitchen, those things are essential for actually saving money.
So having to buy food that was more expensive and often less healthy than what she might prepare, and having to endure the unkindness of random roommates.
And it's a little different here because I'm in New York City, and the rent here is just it's insane, especially in the Manhattan region. You can find good deals, but $5,000 is a 1-bedroom in Manhattan now. So I also wanted to break this down and make it a little bit more digestible and understandable to people. I want you guys to watch this video right here that kind of explains it.
Daryl Fairweather is the chief economist at Redfin, a nationwide real estate brokerage firm that pulls together real-time statistics on both the sales and rental markets. For example, their numbers show that rents increased 31% in Jacksonville last year, 40% in Austin, Texas.
What's causing this?
We are not building enough housing for everybody who needs a place to live. We built fewer homes in the 2010s than in any decade going back to the 1960s. And at the same time, millennials are the biggest generation and they're entering into home buying age.
With that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you definitely subscribe to my channel. The channel here is based off helping people and also having important conversations and giving people the right information they need. So guys, please subscribe to the channel, help me reach 1 million views, and help me continue to grow the podcast. And I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.